Hey guys, this will be part one in a series about the products and tools and techniques that I use to try and keep my Shelby as like new as possible. Alright, I start out by pulling the car up on some 2x4 blocks. This allows me to scrub and dress the bottom side of the tire where it meets the ground. This makes it a lot easier than having to pull it up just to get that one little spot. After I do that, I go to work on the wheels, the tires, and the fender wells. I'm using Black Magic bleach white on the tires. Used to be made by Wesley's. I've been using it for a long time, and it works good to get the tires good and clean. It also works best if you spray it down with water first. That way it just suds more. And I don't know that the suds are actually doing any more work, but it just makes me feel better. The brush I'm using, I bought at O'Reilly's. Next time I make an order from either Amazon or Obsessed Garage, I'm going to get the Tough Shine tire brush. Matt Mormon, Dallas Paint Correction, and I think Darren from Auto Fetish Detail, all on YouTube. They say it's the best tire brush they've used, and so for $5 I've got to try it out. Just on a side note, the water hose I'm using is a Craftsman Professional. It's black. It doesn't kink. You know, it will kink, but it doesn't kink as easy as a lot of hoses I've used. But I've had this one here for over 10 years, and it still works great. Whenever I go to buy a new one, I'll probably try Flexzilla. I've recently started using this Griot's heavy duty wheel cleaner. It works kind of like the Iron X stuff in that it'll turn purple if you leave it on there to sit. I've used other similar products, and I didn't really like them because they didn't foam when you agitate the wheel with a brush. And like I said before, not that the foam makes it any better, I just feel like I'm getting more work done. This blue brush is an Easy Detail, is the name brand. And it's their larger size. They also have a miniature size, but for $25, I'm telling you, this thing's worth every penny. You can see how you can get into the wheel barrels real good and clean all the way back through there. Get in between the spokes really well. I really like this brush. And here in a minute, I'll be using a red one. It's a Speedmaster, but they're basically the same thing. And the Speedmaster that I have is the miniature version, but they both have a larger and a smaller version. They're not only great for wheels, they're also good for fender wells, exhaust tips, and engine bay cleaning. They're also, as you've seen a minute ago, that you can bend them. It's like a plastic coated steel rod, and so you can bend it to whatever shape you need. The only thing I don't like about this bigger one is that it bends as you're using it, and you kind of have to straighten it up every once in a while. Now here's the little Speedmaster Mini that I was telling you about, and it's good for these smaller holes, and also you can bend it and get around behind the spokes in the wheel so that you can get to your calipers and get those clean. I've also got a wheel woolies, but I don't use it all that much. It's a little bit too big to really get in there and get those calipers. But I've also got a paintbrush that I use. I taped off the little metal binding. It's like a 2-inch cut-in brush. And I'll use it for trying to get in there to the calipers. This is what I'm using right now for a lug nut brush. Got it at Harbor Freight for like $2. And it does the job, but it's a little bit more stiff than what I would like, and it's got a metal binding, so I put duct tape around it just to make sure I don't scratch anything. I bought the nozzle that I'm using here from Tractor Supply for about $12, and I usually end up buying once a year. I guess I'm pretty hard on them because I just kind of drop them when I'm done and just let it hit the concrete. But this one's held up pretty good so far, and I like the way it works, kind of like the fire nozzle. Now if anybody knows, I'm using some water hose quick connects, and I've tried several different ones, and every one I've used has been a pain in the butt. After a while they sort of corrode and you can't get them apart. So if anybody knows of any really good water hose disconnects, and especially if they'll swivel under pressure, let me know in the comments, because I need something better than what I've been using. I thought I was going to use that big blue brush there. I bought it at Harbor Freight too, and I use it for all kind of stuff. When I have my Jeep, I'd use it to wash the undercarriage, and I'll use it to wash wheels like they're on my pickup. It works pretty good for that. But these wheels here with the thin spokes, it doesn't work too good on, so I've just got this old wash mitt here that I've had around for a while. It's probably hit the ground a time or two. Now I still keep it good and clean. I wash it every time I use it. That way if there's anything in it, it hopefully will come out in the wash and I won't scratch up my wheels. But anyways, it's going to work a lot better on these wheels than that brush one. If you stayed this long, go ahead and stay on to the end, because I know a fella that had his GT500 in Mexico the other night, and he sent me a video of him racing a ZL1 that I think y'all like, and I'll put that at the end. And if you noticed a while ago, I sprayed some of that bleach white up in the fender well when I spray in the tire, and now I'll take this easy detail brush and use it to scrub anything that might be in there. Okay, the next step is I hook up my little pressure washer here, little green works that I showed in the video when I was using it for the first time on my wife's car with my Amazon phone cannon. But anyway, I take that and I use it and just spray down the whole car just to try to get any loose dust or dirt or sand off the paint. This is the third time I've used my little pressure washer, and I really do like it, except for the hose is only 15 feet and it really could use another 15 feet. I'm using about 2 ounces of Adam's car shampoo in my Amazon foam cannon. I'm gonna fill it up the rest of the way with water and then attach it to the pressure washer wand with the 1/4 inch disconnect, and then the fun begins. Now, there's a debate of whether to rinse the foam off before you wash or to leave it on. I'm gonna leave it on, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna foam it, and then I'm gonna just let the foam sit on there and start running off, and hopefully pulling any dirt or any debris off with it while I get my wash and rinse bucket ready. Both my wash and my rinse buckets have grit guards in the bottom of them. You can use that like a scrub board to kind of help get any dirt or anything that's on your wash pad to come off, and then it'll stay down there under the grit guard so that you're not bringing it back up and putting it back on the car. Okay, so I foamed the car using Adams, and so I decided to use the last little bit of my Meguiar's Gold Class in my wash bucket. Probably 4 to 5 ounces is what I normally use in my wash bucket. One thing I did forget to do was to use ONR. If you don't know what that is, it's Optimum No Rinse. You can also use it as a clay lube or a detail spray. So what I like to do is use it. So I use it on the front bumper and around the headlights and all that to start breaking down any bug guts and to help emulsify any dirt. And then I really like to use it on the rear, on the tail lights and the piano black section that's between the tail lights, because that stuff scratches so easy. So I usually spray it down with the ONR first before I start washing. Now the car's not very dirty. If it was, I'd be rinsing and flipping my wash pad a lot more often, but it's just a little bit dusty from sitting around in the garage all week. Just trying to knock that little bit off, and most of it probably come off with the pressure washer and the foam cannon. But now you probably know, but go in straight lines as much as possible when you're washing. That way if you are scratching at all, it's going to be in a straight line. So it's only going to be visible from 1 or 2 angles, whereas if you're going in a swirling motion is when you cause the infamous swirl marks, and they can be seen from any direction, and they're also a lot harder to compound out. Now I'm using 2 different wash pads. The one I'm using right now is an Adams synthetic sheepskin, I think is what it is, 11 by 11 inch. Started using those because of Obsessed Garage. Matt Mormon recommended them, and I really like them. Now he's since moved on to Microfiber Madness, and I've used those type of mitts before, or pads, whatever, and I really didn't like them. I like this a lot better. But anyway, so I'm using this Adams on about the top 3/4 of the car. I've got a Chemical Guys wash pad that's basically the same thing that I'm going to use on around the bottom of the car from the stripes and below. I first started getting interested in detailing cars when I was about 16. Got my first car. That was a 91 Mazda Protege. And anyways, so I liked keeping it as clean as possible. Like I say, this was about 97. It was a 91 model, and I wanted it to look as new as possible. So I got interested in it, and until I discovered Auto Geek in about 2006, I always used products that I could get at the local parts stores. Now I still use a lot of the off-the-shelf parts store brands, you know, Mothers and Meguiar's and everything. Which Meguiar's, I mean, they've got some more top-shelf brands or products as well, besides just the stuff you buy at the local parts store. But all that stuff, you know, it worked good for me for years. But then I discovered the more boutique brands and Auto Geek and the forum that's on Auto Geek, and then Adams, and now with YouTube, there's so many people that have detailing channels that they're, you know, you can just learn a lot about it and try different things. And so I'll find a product that I just really love, and I'll use it for who knows how long. You know, just won't give it up, like the Wesley's bleach white. But then there's other stuff that I'll use it, and I won't be just super impressed with it. And so the next time I need that certain product, so just say it's an interior detailer, then I'll try something else until I do find something that I fall in love with. Now, the things that I've tried that I don't really care for using it on the Shelby, at least, I'll put that aside and end up using it on my truck or something. Well, that about does it for this one. In the next video of this series, I'll show you how I clean the exhaust tips and how I rinse the car, and then my drying process. If you stayed through this long, I really do appreciate it. So now let's see a GT500 versus a ZL1. All right, now this is only a 10-second clip, and it's not the best video in the world, so let me set it up for you. So 14 Shelby GT500, and I think that's a 13 Camaro ZL1. Now ZL1 is pulleyed, tuned, headers, and well, full exhaust, and probably has a few other things that I don't know about. And the Shelby is completely stock, 100%. Now this is from a 40 roll, and the ZL1 gets the GT500 on the jump, but when the ZL1 hits third, the GT500 pulls on him. And although it was a really close race, I say the GT500 won this one. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I really appreciate you watching. Please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and tap that bell. That way you'll know when I upload. Thank you very much once again, and we will see you hopefully next week with part 2.